Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into something that could totally flip the script on how we think about, well, cleaning. Yeah, one of our most basic chores. It's this new idea that wants to swap out all our guesswork with some real, hard science.
So let me ask you this. Picture it. You've just spent the last hour making your kitchen absolutely sparkle. But is it really clean? Like truly clean? How can you actually be sure?
I mean, sure, you wipe down a counter and it looks fantastic. But here's the thing, looks can be so deceiving, right? What about all those microscopic little particles that you just can't see? The reality is, for most of us, clean is more of a feeling, a hope, an assumption. We're just going by what our eyes tell us. And believe me, that's not the whole story. Not even close.
All right, so let's get into the real problem here. What does clean even mean? The issue is there's no universal science-backed standard. It's all kind of made up. My idea of clean could be worlds apart from yours, and a product manufacturer's claim, that could be something else entirely. It's a mess.
Okay, but what if we could fix that? What if there was a simple, objective way to measure how well something actually cleans? Well, that is precisely the idea behind this really groundbreaking new system. It's called the Cleaning Performance Index, or you guessed it, CPI.
So, what is this thing exactly? Well, the CPI is a science-based method for benchmarking cleaning effectiveness, and it's not some vague rating. No, it's based on a really specific formula. It measures how much of a specific kind of dirt gets removed from a specific type of surface in a set amount of time. And this is the perfect way to think about it. It's basically a nutrition label, but for cleaning. I mean, think about it. We all know how to glance at a food label to make healthier choices, right? The CPI wants to do the exact same thing for the cleanliness and health of our homes. It's simple, it's clear, and it puts the power back in your hands. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. How does this index actually work? The science behind the final score is surprisingly simple, but man, is it powerful.
So, at the heart of the whole system is this one little equation. It's all about specifics. You take a specific soil, let's say fine dust or maybe some sticky kitchen grime, you test it on a specific surface, like a hardwood floor or the grout between your tiles. You do that for a given amount of time, and all of that scientific data gets crunched down into one single, simple number.
And that number? It's just a rating from 1 to 10. That's it. All that complex science, all those lab tests, are boiled down to a score that anybody can understand in a second. A higher number just means it does a better job at that very specific cleaning task. Simple as that.
Okay, to really see why this matters, let's look at a classic cleaning debate. You've got a hard floor. What's better, a dust mop or a vacuum cleaner? Now, most of us would probably just pick one and call it a day. But the real answer? Well, it's a little more complicated.
And this is what's so cool about it. When you look at the data, the CPI tells a fascinating story. A dust mop? It actually gets a higher CPI score for picking up those big, visible clumps of dust. But the vacuum cleaner, it scores way higher on pulling those tiny, invisible particles out from deep inside the grout lines. See, the index gives us the data to pick the right tool for the actual job, not just the one we think is best. Now, this all sounds amazing, but a big question comes up. Who's behind this? For an index like this to have any real weight, it needs some serious scientific credibility. So let's take a look at the partnership that's making the CPHI a reality. It's basically a team-up between two key players. On one side, you have TURI, the Toxics Use Reduction Institute. They're the scientists, the researchers, the ones in the lab doing all the testing. And they've partnered with an organization called INDEX, which stands for the Indoor Exposure Index. They're a nonprofit, and their job is to communicate all that science and manage the CPI trademark.
And here's why that's so crucial. It's all about building trust. TURI has been working for over 30 years to protect people's health from toxic chemicals. They've got the track record. And Index is a nonprofit. Their whole reason for being is to share unbiased, peer-reviewed science. So this isn't some marketing gimmick to sell more cleaner. This is a mission rooted in public health.
So, what does this all add up to? What's the future look like with something like the CPI? Well, creating a trusted, standardized index for cleaning, that's not just a small improvement, it's a potential game changer for public health.
Just think about the ripple effect here. First, the CPI would create a single standardized benchmark for the entire cleaning industry. That means everyone has to step up their game. Second, it empowers you, the consumer, to finally make choices based on proof,
on real effectiveness, not just some flashy marketing claim. And maybe most importantly, it becomes this incredibly powerful tool to protect our health by making sure our spaces are truly clean. It turns that old anecdotal evidence, I think this works well, into a science-based fact. The data proves this works well.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Just imagine, next time you're walking down the cleaning aisle, you see a simple CPI score on every single product. What if clean was no longer just a guess? What if it was a guarantee? That's the future the Cleaning Performance Index is trying to build. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.